Triplefour.
Let's talk about it. Okay, Triplefour podcast.
Yeah, he said
This dude makes a meatwad fucking thing for no reason, and then he says Jim Norrison.
Bob Dylan I find personally obnoxious, but the Beatles destroyed culture.
Oh my god.
I got Elon Musk to smoke weed in my Tesla the other day. That's not even a big fucking deal.
Things are crazy right now. You don't know shit, do you? We really didn't.
You know, you can't always get what you want, but you'll find sometimes that if you try,
You just might get it.
Oh, you get it!
When COVID all happened, they were doing the Zoom calls. People didn't know how to use it that well. I think people are a little bit more adapted. But like, she had a student who kept like eating and talking to her dog while she was like in class, but she couldn't figure out how to put her mute on. But she like didn't care, I guess, because she kept like being like, the Snickers, hi Snickers. And like my Q had to be like, Amanda, can you not talk to your dog? I know you can't figure out the mute, but
that almost the exact same thing happened to me last night. There was this there was a girl who was like smiling real big, and she was kind of looking off camera a lot like this. And the professor was like, "Hey, what's going on, Megan? What are you smiling about?" And like in jest, like he just wanted to be nice and interact. But she was on mute, and you know everybody's on mute listening to the professor. But he was like, she just goes, like, I'm not gonna talk about it. And it was so uncomfortable. It's like, just chime in and say, oh, just my dog or something. But no, she just,
Me smiling? What's happening?
What? No, not me. Me? No.
Didn't even unmute herself. She just like.
Yeah, didn't unmute. Just.
That's funny. That's some funny shit.
I'm always looking at myself and like touching my face, and there's something so like self-aware, like something so reflexive about it.
Yeah, like you're like somewhat self-conscious, but like in a way that's like super unnecessary.
Yeah,
like,
and it's making it worse.
I'm like this big on your screen because like, you know, so I don't know how it works. I've never been on a call. I guess I've been on a call with like 6 people, so it was like the Brady Bunch type of a board. But I've seen that sometimes you just have like a line at the top of versus, is that how your class is?
It's up to you. I mean, so in Zoom you can do either the gallery view, the Brady Bunch view is a better term, or the spotlight view, which is where the speaker is the highlighted person. Everybody else is at the top. I prefer the speaker thing when I'm in a class, because it's like I'm supposed to be listening to one person, and I don't want to be looking at all the other people who are looking off camera at their dog or whatever.
I almost feel like in that type of a setting, like during the lecture, if the teacher could just see you and everyone else in the class like couldn't, I would prefer that. Because like I know the teacher has to be like, is Madison paying attention? Did she even show up to class? Like, it's important for them to be able to see you, but like your other classmates, I would kind of be like, I don't want you to look at my house. Like, it's weird. How many people in your class or in your like?
There's about 20. I have 2 classes that are synchronous, so they're there's like 20 people, and you're right. There's like there's an element of dressing up your area and like appearing nice and stuff.
In a way that like is a little bit deeper than if you actually just saw them in person. It's almost like says more about you to be like, what's behind me? Yeah,
there's something kind of interesting about that. Like you get a little chance to represent yourself. Like I got the Evangelion poster in the back. So nobody's said anything. Nobody's said anything about that, or probably doesn't even care. But
here's what I'm wondering. Do people say anything like, oh, your bed is right beside your kitchen sink?
Yeah, some people. Well, nobody's like addressed that other than my own friends.
Yeah.
We're like, bro, why is your sink at the foot of your bed? And like, it's a small apartment. That's all I got.
It's a hallway.
It is kind of a hallway.
Yeah, that's funny. How is school? Are you like 50-50 or is it all online right now?
It's all online, which is kind of a bummer because obviously you have to be in person and hands on to learn so much about like, I don't know, making things in general, but specifically in film and stuff. And there's the classes this quarter are not so like necessary. Like it's not a necessity to be in a room with other people.
Yeah. Also, there's something to be said about like in-person things and conversations that spark, and it's like, oh, let's go. Like you make plans. Like I don't know. I feel like being in person just makes a huge difference, regardless of the class. If it's like a huge class, like I don't even know, like Psych 101, it's like it doesn't really matter. But like I feel like our video class, for instance, like probably didn't need to be in person, but it makes a huge difference. Yeah,
you get to vibe off everybody's frequencies, their in person aura, to use some art words.
Do you feel like you've been able to connect with your classmates though, like in terms of making friends, or is this kind of weird now?
It is super weird. It is like next to impossible, I feel like. But some people are making a very sincere effort to be to try and connect, which I appreciate. It's just like for me, I don't really make a lot of tangible friends in person very easily or very well.
Amplified.
Yeah, it's like or like even pushing it beyond. Like if it was going to be like, oh, you know, there's this girl in my screenwriting group. She's kind of cute. Maybe I should like talk. You know, but you can't do that. It's a fucking group video call. There's no connection being made.
Yeah, you just like look at her and hope she's like looking at your screen. But it's like you can't even make eye contact with people.
No, you cannot.
Body language is out of the question. Like there's none. Damn. Okay.
My body language is just touching my face all the time because I can't stop.
Yeah. Well, that's like, you know, do you feel like you're getting well adjusted to Chicago? I saw the bean. That was funny as fuck.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that I can make somebody laugh with my Instagram posts. No, there's I straight up love the place. I mean, like the city and just like the flow of transportation and the way that everything seems so immediate and accessible. Like, you know, being able to just walk places. Like if I need to go get groceries, I just walk right there. I mean, it might suck when it gets really cold. That's for sure. But like the fact that it's not like, you know, Missouri where I had to get into a car, turn on a car, drive out of my neighborhood, drive down the block to get to the place, then park the car. It's just like once you remove that from the equation, there's like everything feels like it's just happening and I like it. Yeah.
I'm sure you live like down the block from like a CVS and like a Trader Joe's and stuff like that.
There's the place is called Jewel Osco, which I don't know. Yeah, there's also an Aldi, but that's about a mile north. And I've gone there.
Yeah, you know what you need? You need a shopping cart that you can just.
That's like there's signs everywhere that are like at the Jewel Osco. If there's a sign that's like, if you take a shopping cart off of this premises, you will be destroyed.
Yeah, basically. I'm sure it's a problem. I know in most cities it's like something they have to be concerned about because a lot of people, especially people who are houseless, you know, it's like a means of carrying and like storing all their goods. And it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I want to take this and not carry my groceries.
Yeah, but there's also, definitely a more pronounced population of houseless folks around here. And it's such a tough situation, you know, to be, because like you do want to help, but I'm also like I live in a hallway. Like I don't have a lot of expendable income and I'm really sorry. And also you encounter the same people every day.
Dude, I faced that same problem when I lived in Philly and Providence. It was like, it wasn't just like once in a while see different, it was like literally the same people all the time. And it's like, still have compassion for it, you know, but after a while you're like, all right, Sam.
Yeah.
Not today.
It's like the doorman, you know, like you should know to me by now. Like I'm the guy with the headphones and I'm not like, I'm just going to give you one of these like every time. So I'm sorry, but that's how it works.
Right. Yeah. I had a friend. It was like when I first moved to Denver, and we were like walking down the street, and she was like talking to every person that she saw that encountered. Cause you know, like a lot of times people will just kind of shout at you and just be like, hey, how's it going? And you're like, I don't know what's going to come from this conversation. Yeah. And like my parents, when I was younger, from the Midwest, small ass town, like we're like, never engage, never talk to strangers, like don't talk to, you know, like just a very conservative perspective about it all.
Yeah.
And then so my friend was just like talking to every single person, and like this guy was trying to sell her weed, and then she gave him money, and then he walked with us for like 7 blocks, just like kind of like not only hitting on us, but being pretty vulgar. And she was like putting up with it for a while. And then like, she's like, all right, how about at the end of this block, like you give me the weed and leave us alone. And he was like, actually it's crack cocaine. And she was like, I don't want it.
Oh, wow.
And then he left, and I was like, dude, you're so nice. Like I feel like I never do that. Like I don't engage as much. She's like, well, I feel like there's like a huge part of like American culture to ignore people that are homeless or houseless. And I never want to like, what did she say? I can't think of her specific words, but like, ignore humanity in that way. Like those are still people, you know, and just like, that's really beautiful. Like I should be more compassionate but there's like a line, because like I'm a woman, like late at night, like not trying to engage with a bunch of people, but anyway.
See, I'm just jaded. I have one particular story that I don't know if I've ever told on the podcast. There is also the classic case. If you fans of the podcast, go check out the Triplefour podcast Instagram account, because there's all the highlights and stuff on there. But find the one called I think it's called Nellie's Cousin, or 357s, something like that, because there's the man who sat down at a table with me and my friend Josh and told us he had a gun, and that was hilarious in hindsight. So go check that out. I have a different one that I know I haven't talked about on the show, and this is rough, and like people are going to judge me for it. But so I was at a Taco Bell in the middle of the day in my hometown, St. Charles, Missouri, which is, very white, conservative, churchy suburb of St. Louis. And I'm at Taco Bell in the middle of the day, and they have this drive-through that kind of goes like, it's a 1-lane, really tight squeeze, and it goes around the corner, around the building, and when you get out on the other end, it's the parking lot. I got my food, and I'm driving around, coming around the corner of the restaurant, and a woman came out, and she was in the parking lot. She came up to my window, and I did have the beat of like, I should ignore this. But then I was like, you know what? Compassion for humanity.
Right.
So I rolled down my window, and she's like, excuse me, hello, excuse me.
Did you crack it, or did you roll it?
I rolled it down. I mean, broad daylight at Taco Bell. I don't feel that, like, I don't feel in danger. Also, I'm in a car, so I can go if I want. But right. She was like, hi, sorry, my car broke down. She's pointing at a shitty van in the parking lot. My car broke down. I got my kid with me, and I just need a ride home. I don't have anybody that can come pick me up. It's just down the road. She points like this. She's like, it's just down the road. And we're off Highway 70. She's like, just down the road, point to the highway. And I'm like, flipping it around in my head. I'm like, never talk to strangers. Don't give people rides. Giving all the things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna make a judgment call. And she made such a like good emotional case as I'm in the Taco Bell drive-through lane.
Ew.
I also have food. I have hot food in a bag. And I'm like, if it's just down the road, okay. So she goes, oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. And, she's got her kid. What I didn't notice was as soon as she was like, okay, hold on. And she goes into the Taco Bell and comes out with like 2 enormous bags full of stuff. So it wasn't just me and the kid. It was like, also I have a bunch of stuff. Whatever.
Why put your stuff in her car?
I don't know. It's because she probably didn't have a car, and that was probably not the case. But anyway, so she gets in, she throws the car stuff in the truck bed, and again, just down the road.
You drive a Ranger, right?
Huh?
You drive a Ranger?
No, it was a Dodge Dakota.
Oh, okay.
Which is a single cab.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, regardless, it's like a smaller truck, right?
Yeah, it's a tight squeeze, and she's got the kid in a thing like on her, like I don't know, some kind of like strapped thing or something.
Oh, so it was a baby.
It was a very young child. My memory's kind of foggy on that. Like the kid didn't make any noise or whatever. Honestly, that's the thing that probably would have like really annoyed me, as if it was like a loud kid, because it was like a nightmare. But she got in the car and and she's like, just down the road. So I get on the highway and we're going east towards the city. And we pass by. She gets in the car and immediately, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He gives a ride to a homeless person and then he immediately like asks to use the phone. It was like that, but she had her own phone. She immediately got on the phone and she's calling home. She's like, yeah, I got a ride. I'm going to be there pretty soon. And I'm just like,
but it was a real phone call for sure.
Oh yeah, it was a real phone call. Okay. I'm on my way home. I'm going to be there soon. And then all of a sudden she starts getting angry. She's like,
on the phone. And she's like, what are they doing? Tell him I said stop. Tell him I said stop. She's like, I'm going to be there in a minute. Tell him I said stop. Tell him I'm going to be there in a minute. And I'm just like, and then we're passing exits. You're like, is it this one? And she leaves her, huh? No. Tell him I said stop. And then it was like she was getting angrier. And then it became pleading. It was, tell him I said, please. Tell him I said, please stop. Please. I'm on my way. I'm going to be there in a minute. I'm like, fucking Christ. We're crossing now. I would kind of be like, what's going on? Like,
everything.
You're entitled to know because you're giving a ride.
Well, it's like she's just on the phone. So I'm like, I guess I can't talk to you. You're on the phone. Just tell him I said, please. Please stop. And then it became anger again. And it was, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call the cops if they don't stop. Tell them I said I'm going to call the cops.
Would she ever let me talk to them?
No, I was just pretty much just giving orders to this one person to give to their kids. And now we're crossing into North County, St. Louis, which is Ferguson, Florissant, and
so not just down the road.
Not an ideal area. Not just down the road. Definitely. We're talking like 10 miles on the highway now. And finally, after a very long period of tell him I said please and all that, she's like, okay, it's this one. We pull over and it is not a nice neighborhood. It is there is some struggle. and there was cops down the road at somebody else's house, and she made this comment like, "Oh, they're already here," or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." I let her out. She said, you know, "Thank you, God bless you," but after that, just immediately attention away, like towards her kids and whoever it was at the house that she was yelling at. And I'm just like, awesome. And so I just kind of drove away, and
That's it.
And that was it. And my food was cold. But it's just like, you know, that I know I did something nice for somebody. You know,
yeah, I needed a ride. Something was like happening at that house.
Something. Well, I think it was just that she wasn't there and her kids were acting up and they were being, you know, crazy, and she needed to get there. Yeah, she definitely needed a ride. That there was no like deception, but it was still just this experience of like, I felt a little bit like I was being taken advantage of a little bit, or like, you know,
for sure.
Like, I'm just like, I was kind of guilted into this. There were things that, you know, there were elements of the equation that were kept from me. You definitely said it was just down the road, and you knew you were fucking lying about that. And I don't know, that jaded me like pretty significantly. Also, just like my general experience with people in downtown St. Louis, just like there was another time where somebody was like, hi, sorry, you know, and I think a lot of people who approach people on the street have figured out a strategy of like just getting to the like emotional beat immediately. So I get a lot of somebody coming right up to you like, "Hey, sorry to bother you, but my name is Andre Williamson, and I'm, you know, really struggling. I'm trying to get to," and just like immediately giving me like a TED talk about like why I need my help. And there was a person who did this to me in downtown St. Louis where it was like, she goes, "Hey, sorry, I got my kids in the car. We just really need something to eat. There's a Philly cheesesteak place right there. I just need like 4 Philly cheesesteaks."
Just 4.
Just 4. And she's like, "They're only $8 a pop." And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, come up to me and ask me for like $60 worth of cheesesteak on the street.
Right.
So yeah, I'm kind of jaded. There's really a conflict though, you know.
I was walking. So I have like this liquor store down the street from me. So sometimes I just walk there because I'm like, literally the only reason I don't walk anymore is because of this reason. Like, because recently I was going, this guy stopped me and he was like, "Hey," like asked me for some money for some food. And I was like, "Can I just like help you on my way back?" And then I like went to the liquor store. Of course, like gluttonous, I'm like buying myself alcohol. Like I'm like, okay, I can definitely help someone if I'm like going and spending money on something I don't need. So I like go, and he's just like, I was like, "I can have like, I'll go to CVS and like we can get you something to eat." He's like, "I was really hoping for something warm. My wife is dying. She just got out of the hospital, and we both need a warm meal." And I was like, yeah, straight to the chase, like straight to the heart of it, just like, we're hungry, we want to. And I was like, okay. He's like, "Let's go to Taco Bell." I was like, that's like 5 blocks away, like, and I don't have cash. Like, I'd be happy to get you something from CVS or from. And he was like, "It's not really warm." I was like, okay, well, we could go to this diner that's like across the street. It's like more expensive, but I was like, whatever. And like I ordered them food, and I was like, "It's going to be ready in this amount of time. Like, I'm going to go home, but you can like go pick it up." And he was just like, you know, super grateful, super nice about it. But I was like, man, it was like, you want me to buy you dinner, but you won't accept my offer of like cold food, but like you only want hot food. It's just like picky, you know? Like, you're being greedy at this point. Like, but,
it's going down at the Taco Bell, I think.
Yeah. It was like, I don't want to go to Taco Bell. That's really far away. But yeah, it's good to help people when you can. You can't always, I'm sure. I mean, I can't. I'm broke too, but I gotta pay rent. Mm-hmm. I gotta be able to, but whatever.
When I was in high school, I went on these trips with my journalism class. We went on these trips to the National High School Journalism Conventions because we were such a prestigious journalism program.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys work on things throughout the year and like publish them in papers, or was that the newspaper?
So
separate group, or did you just do the yearbook? Because our journalism just did the yearbook.
So we were like a powerhouse. I mean, like we did the whole entity was called Publications. So I was on the we called it the video team or the broadcast or whatever, and we put out a monthly video news show. So it was like every month 4 or 5 stories, because our team was really small on the video stuff. So it was like 6 or 7 people, and 4 or 5 news stories from around school just once a month. That's what we did. And then there was a month.
Your dad's stuff and being at Boise State really prepped you for your whole life, right?
Well, yeah, there's just video in my DNA. I mean, my dad studied broadcast journalism specifically.
Right.
So, and there was cameras and stuff around my house. I think that's kind of where this all starts, because my brother got into making videos. We made home movies as a kid.
Was your dad really into, like, when you were like, yeah, I'm part of the, what do you call it, publications group? Like, I'm part of this organization. We make a video every week or every month. And, like, was your dad about it and, like, critiqued you?
He never really, I mean, he's always been supportive of everything, but not really like critique and stuff. He kind of, he would watch it. Yeah, I mean, he'd watch it sometimes. I don't have anything that I specifically remember. We're definitely more closer to like, as far as like showing work and stuff now. Like I help him with Adobe Premiere now. Like he's learning Premiere, so he'll ask me questions about that and stuff like that. But journalism program, also, they did a monthly newspaper, and the yearbook, which was worked on all year round. And then we had the website, which was like the online newspaper, and that pretty much was like new stuff every day. It was a lot of stuff being produced all the time. And so we were really productive and we were really good at it. Our advisor was like, honestly, one of the most influential like teachers I've ever had. He was really, really incredible. And took us to these conventions, and they're part award show and part convention, with like, hour-long seminars, led by all
schoolers.
What?
For high schoolers.
Yeah, for high schoolers.
That's so sick.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. And I was lucky because I got to go on like 4 or 5 of these trips, and they take place. They're all around the country. They rotate. There's a fall one and a spring one every year. So we would go to places like, I know I went to Minneapolis, San Antonio, San Francisco, San Diego, and Boston. With the journalism program. And whenever we would go on these trips, I remember our teacher, he would say, because we were, teenagers and didn't have experience walking around a big city so much, he would say, like there are going to be, homeless people, they might ask you for money, and I'm just going to tell you as a teacher or as an advisor and the leader of this trip, don't give anybody money now. If you feel like you want to help, you should donate to organizations or charities that might benefit them. And I always thought that was an interesting take on it. You kind of have to
children on a trip, Yeah. I'm sure you were like giving cash from your parents to go on this trip, like just have a little extra money for dinner and stuff. And your teacher's just like, yeah, don't blow it, because then I have to pay your dinner.
Yeah. Well, I think he also didn't want to like, or like what you were talking about with like you give somebody money and then all of a sudden they're your friend for a little while. They want to like follow you around. That he probably wanted to avoid that. Did that happen in Europe with you? Because that happened in Europe at least once with us.
Yeah, I think it happened in Venice.
Oh yeah.
But actually, I don't know if it happened to me directly, but I know that like someone bought a rose. There's people selling roses and selling little trinkets, and then they like followed that person around. But that was like, I can't really remember that too well, but it happened on your trip.
There was something kind of similar where when we went on the day trip to Dessau, And there was some guy at the train station, and he was kind of flirting with one of the girls, making eyes at one of the girls in our group. But she was so privileged and honestly had no awareness, and she was kind of playing off of it, like, you know, like, I'm so cute, I want to, and
like following me.
Yeah, and then Luke Jordan, he did this honestly expert move, which was all he did was he walked over to her and stood in the eyesight between her and this guy, and he just stood there as if like totally nonchalant, like I'm just going to be in the way, just so you know, I'm in the way.
Yeah,
and,
like, you have to come through me if you want to get to this girl.
Yeah, and he's not like a threatening presence, but he's just a guy in the way, and it's just like, hey, just so you know, just lay off.
Lay off. Yeah.
And that worked, but the guy got on the same train that we were going on. And then I don't think anything happened on the train, but by the time we got back to Berlin, he had gotten off and was like clearly like looking around for her and stuff. So and nothing came of it, but that was strange.
Yeah, a bit freaky. Damn. Yeah, dude, I was just thinking about this, like, because I really want to go abroad. Not to digress, but I was like, I have a friend from college. But I mostly just knew him because he like DJ'd at the tap room, and then a girl who was in the art program. I don't know if you know her name. Is like Kelsey Willis.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah. Anyway, they both just like live in Berlin. They just moved to there, and they're just like scraping by, like DJing and just like living. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, why did coronavirus happen now? People can just. Yeah, that they just moved and don't have like real jobs.
Yeah, that blows my mind. Like when you read about like an old story of like a Black Dahlia story of like somebody just packed up and moved to LA to start their new life or whatever, and you're just like, how the fuck do you accomplish that? You would have to have money saved. If you don't have money saved,
right? Like,
how do you live?
But yeah, I'm just like, yeah, you have to have had planned that prior to and had like something figured out, or just have like, well, I know one of my friends, he definitely just has money.
Yeah.
So he's just like a DJ. But the girl, I'm just like, I don't even know, but it's inspiring. Like, I'm just like, I don't feel like especially with Berlin, I'm like, you definitely don't have to speak German to live there.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I don't know. I just like, part of me thinks that I wouldn't be able to do it. And then I'm like, well, could I work at a coffee shop there? Maybe.
Yeah, I have resigned food service and like, you know, waiting on people. Like, no more. I cannot.
It sucks.
I've done too much.
Yeah, it's worse. I actually just got a new job.
What's that?
I work at Whole Foods.
Oh, corporate Amazon, the enemy.
I know. Man, they're just doing repairs everywhere around here. No, I'm really excited. It's really strange though. I journaled. I went to a coffee shop this morning and journaled. And one thing I wrote down about, I was like, although I'm working this corporate job now, I'm pretty thankful. Like when I had my orientation yesterday, we did like some sexual harassment training, some like food, what's the word? Like food and sanitization, like being clean. Like, you know, you have to like learn about 3 things, like what temperature meat has to be kept at.
Safe.
Yeah, basically. And learned about the company and all that, whatever. But I think about my other job and I'm like, I had like 2 training days that were like 3 hours long. And then they like just made me work by myself. And I got, there was no training on like being clean or like sexual harassment. I had like dishwashers come up and like rub my shoulders at my other job. And I'm like, how is this allowed? How is this like not gone over when you like hire people that you can't do that to women or anyone, you know?
Yeah.
But I like the corporation aspect. Like I'm thankful for those like rules to be like put in place from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like almost everywhere I've worked, except for the Italian restaurant, which was like a local chain, there's been extensive like corporate training procedures like that. But I have totally realized over time, though, that it's all just legal protection.
Oh, you have to. Yeah.
So, and pretty much all the restaurants I've worked in, they give you a whole bunch of rules about what you're do or do not do with food, or sexual harassment. Or I've heard horrific things out of my coworkers' mouths all the time in restaurants. In restaurants in particular, I think there's this attitude of like,
we don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. Like, we are the owner. We run the business, especially servers. I'm just like, oh, blimey. Come on.
Blimey.
but definitely, like, I feel like at places, even I remember like Urban Outfitters was that way too. Like, bigger corporations, they're just kind of like, they have to do it because more things are at risk for their company, I guess.
Yeah.
If there's like something crazy that happens, but like a small business, they probably don't care as much.
In the restaurant, it's like, let's make sure we're keeping straw waste to a minimum. We don't want to throw away too many straws. And then the manager's like, okay, guys, make sure you're not wasting straws. I don't care how you do it. And then it becomes like,
Customers, can I get a straw? And you're like, we don't have any. Sorry.
Well, that was like, I mean, we got to the point where it was just like, don't give anybody a straw unless they ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because that was the main concern.
Was that a legit thing that happened?
Yeah, that was real. And then it was like,
got costs with the straws.
Well, this was right before COVID. And so ironically, that was a serious concern before COVID. And then COVID happened. And when we did go back to work in June which is still surreal in hindsight, we went back to work in June, or first week of June. Everybody else in the entire world was still at home in their places. We went back to work in June.
I was at work in June as well at a restaurant.
Midwest.
No one cares.
Kind of fucked. If you look at Missouri's numbers, they're doing real well. So, but like it was. Then COVID happened, and it was not only like extensive new measures for being, clean and safe and stuff, but it's like all those things require a ton of waste. So now it was like, hey, remember that straws thing? Fuck the straws. You can throw away as much as you want. Like we were just going through stuff, like all kinds of waste. Like if somebody like looked at a plate of food, it's gone, like because of COVID, So all of a sudden, there's a ton of waste.
Oh, totally. It's just like, I chuck everything and like, it's disgusting. I'm reading this book right now called On Fire, The Burning Case for a Green New Deal. Well, I'm listening to it on audiobook when I paint, but it
sounds like a nightmare. Sounds like it would be like
honestly
constant anxiety.
So depressing. And I was just like, obviously when I'm working at this restaurant, it like makes me think of everything. Like everything becomes more serious. And I just got finished with this section talking about how like we're just programmed in America to, like, for instance, the way that our trash comes and picks up, it just like disappears. So it doesn't really matter to us, like out of sight, out of mind. Like that goes with a lot of things, and then like capitalism and buying, and we're just like programmed to be greedy and want things all the time. And even if it's like super unnecessary, and working in a restaurant, you just see it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Or like, can I get this? Can I get that? And then they don't even eat any of it. And then there's this like waste, and you like, so much stuff is just thrown away. And I'm like, oh, like every night. And the other day it's the host's job to clean the bathroom. So like went to the bathrooms, and my other host who left earlier had checked before me. So I was like taking out the trash, and I'm not even being dramatic. When the toilet paper or the paper towels get low, we have to change them out, or when they're, empty. And so they were like this thick circumference. Like, so there was probably like I don't know, an evening's worth left of using it.
Mm-hmm.
My coworker, same with like the toilet paper, she decides that it's like almost empty, so I'm just gonna put new ones in and toss those in the trash. And I was like, I fucking hate America. Not just America, just like our mentality. I'm just like, this isn't even finished. You just threw away like a ton of toilet paper. Like the stuff is like one ply. Like that's a lot, you know?
Yeah.
It's so wasteful. So fucking wasteful.
So, well, though I will say the one good step that we had, and I think a lot of restaurants do have this, but like the last restaurant I worked at, we had a compost bin. So when we threw away like food and like large amounts of food, we put it in a compost bin. But
we don't do that, unfortunately.
well, it's fucking gross for one, because like I worked at a restaurant that was only open for, you know, and I can probably say the name because I don't work there anymore. It was a little oyster bar. And so,
Wait, you worked at an oyster bar?
Yeah.
Dude,
that was the seafood restaurant.
Stinky.
Oh, yeah.
Stinky.
That's what I was going to get at, is we were open 4 nights a week. And so on Sunday night, before we went on a 3 days off, we had to throw away everything, all the food that like we couldn't, you know, keep. And that included all shucked oysters. So they pre-shuck a bunch of oysters, specifically on Fridays and Saturdays because they had this deal. Yeah, so like they just dumped this huge box of oysters into the bottom of the compost bin, and then it's the potatoes, the corn, all the like wastewater, like of all that stuff. Like I'm throwing away tartar sauce, like cocktail sauce. Just imagine the grossest fucking thing. And you just open it up and you just get hit with like a poisonous vape cloud of...
and then like all of these bugs appear out of nowhere in like a matter of an hour. And they're just like swarming out. And fuck.
We didn't struggle with bugs, thankfully.
Really? That's good. My compost bin at my last apartment, because there was like, we didn't have, you know, one, things shrink up anyway. When you compost them throughout the week and then you go dump it into the bigger compost. So like when I would dump it into the bigger compost, like I'd open it and I'm like, where did all these fruit flies come from? Where did they? Yeah, they would just be everywhere. But that's good that the restaurant didn't have a bug problem.
Yeah, well, we do live in a bug society, and that's the case. But I was going to say, speaking of that book you're reading, this is a moment for literature. A moment for literature. Master Lemonnion requests your presence in the foyer now. Question. So, like, something I had always heard, maybe the book, what you read out of the book can answer this. I've heard that, you know, like the straws and stuff and like those little gestures of eliminating unnecessary waste and stuff like that is only so much, like it's only so effective, but like the real solutions come with like mass, like wide restrictions and limitations on corporations and stuff.
That kind of stuff is totally just like peace of mind, honestly.
Yeah.
Like even you taking your grocery bag to the store, like I feel like it's just peace of mind and feeling like you're doing something, when in reality what needs to happen, just like what happens at Whole Foods, it's like we don't even have plastic. Or when you go to Aldi, it's like we don't even give you an option. Like you bring your own bag or you take a box out that we get the food in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's where even though that's like smaller because they're just like grocery stores, it's just like it all has to come from such a like bigger thing. That's the whole plastic straw thing. I mean, geez Louise. I liked it. Like there was like it was important that it happened because everyone's like the environment. And I was like, this is a silly thing to address. I don't talk about like fossil fuels or cars or like the meat industry. Like everyone's like straws.
Yeah, it does show like some good faith. Like just, you know, maybe just these incremental changes in mentality and perception of how we can affect things, I suppose. Yeah,
but super existential. You should read it. It makes you really scared about the future.
I got enough, man. I got enough. It's the apocalypse. I mean, there's no way, like, I am fascinated by older like pieces of art, or like, okay, so it's a moment for literature still. I just read a book called White Noise by Don DeLillo, and this book, famously, the midsection of the book is called "The Airborne Toxic Event," which is also the name of a band that took their name, that I vaguely remember. But basically, this book is super postmodern and cynical, and it's all about like fear of death and mortality. And
White Noise?
It's called White Noise, yeah.
Interesting. I honestly, given today's, main subject of the media, I was thinking it was going to be about something totally different.
It is kind of very much about the media too. Like basically in every scene, there are these hints that TVs are on, TVs or radios or whatever. Like somebody will be in mid conversation and then he will write, a sentence that comes from the TV. So it'll be like something inane, like, and this one is really going to stretch out those core muscles, and then it'll return to the.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very funny too. It's a really funny, surreal, scary book. But the midsection is all about like this was written in 1985 also, so it's like pretty ahead of its time. And there's this whole section about a tanker of like hazardous chemicals, like it's like punctured, and this huge cloud of like deadly gas is released over this town, and they all have to like evacuate. And they're on the run for like the mid section of the book. And I'm like, this is our real life right now.
Yeah.
and I was just like blown away. And then the other day I watched a movie called Killing Them Softly, which has got Brad Pitt. And it was made in 2012, but it's set in 2008. And the movie opens with a speech of Obama's. And it was sort of I think it might have been his inauguration or his DNC speech or something, but it was like, the Yes We Can and all that stuff. And that's playing sort of cross-cut over, these scenes of these like really like sleazy working class criminal guys who are going to go rob this poker game. And the whole movie has this like, people scraping to get by and get paid, and like the violence and crime that is created out of the American dream, and it's like, but it's like synthesizing that with the Obama era.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so I guess like they were so comfortable. It's either you're so comfortable in the way that the world is that you have the privilege to be cynical about somebody as like, universally likable as Obama. Or you're just like genuinely cynical and don't believe like the Yes We Can change is coming type stuff. And it's just funny to think about, like, you thought 2008 was bad, bro? Come on. Like,
yeah, little did you know the climax hadn't even hit.
Yeah.
Damn, was that the intention of the movie?
It was definitely a big undertone, because there was like all the gangsters and criminals in this movie listen to like NPR. They're all like listening to like talk radio, and they're watching CNN all the time. And it's funny because in any other movie, it's like they would be watching like old gangster movies and but
it's current.
Yeah, no, it's just like Obama speeches. There's a shot where like a guy walks into frame and there's this big billboard, and half of it is a picture of John McCain and half of it's a picture of Obama. And it's not very subtle, honestly, but but just really interesting that it was made by an Australian filmmaker. So I think
even more peculiar. I always find that interesting, people from different countries making films about America.
Yeah.
And it's like a comment on like American lifestyle. And it's like interesting that that's there was someone that I recently watched. I can't think of who it was.
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. That one really bugged me because that was a British filmmaker, and he wrote and made this movie about Missouri. And it's like, I'm not going to even argue that like that town does not probably exist in some form in Missouri, but it's just like, don't be a British dude coming to America to try and tell a story about the state that I grew up in. You don't know.
Right.
And it's shot, and it's not shot in Missouri.
Did 3 Billboard, it wasn't, or it was?
It wasn't.
God damn.
So it's like, Total appropriation.
Did the guy who was in Moon, was he in that?
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, he was. Okay,
Yeah.
then maybe I did see it. And the spoiler, there's like a fire.
Yeah, there is a fire.
Okay, yeah. I definitely remember that vaguely. It's been a minute since I've seen that, but I fucking love that actress.
Oh,
She's in Burnout.
Frances McDormand.
Yes, she's good.
She is.
Pretty into her. Dude, guess what I watched last night? And don't quiz me because I thought I did in the beginning. I had friends over, but I watched Mandy. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, wild.
It is.
Cage.
And this is a time for films.
Parasite, Midsommar, Jean-Luc Godard, Robert Eggers sucks. This is the time for films theme song. It's over.
Yeah, Mandy's great.
Wow. Beautiful, super beautiful. I rented it, so I'm definitely gonna watch it again. So I'm sure there's something that I missed out on in the beginning.
I was really proud. This is where the podcast becomes PG-13. I was so proud because I struggle with like when I want to like get stoned to watch a movie. I struggle with like staying that way. Like I usually just I either pass out, because I'm so tired, or it's like I go and I eat a bunch of stuff and then I feel like gross and bloated, and like that's a whole different experience. But I was proud because when I saw Mandy for the first time, I was able to sustain a state of like psychedelia for the entire movie. Like I was able to just sink into the couch and like get into it. And it was
that would be a crazy movie to watch. I think about that scene where he's like making his sword, his like huge weapon,
Yeah.
And then like there's this. It definitely gave me like like Twin Peaks. But also, what's that movie with Ryan Gosling that's like all about colors? Like there's just like blue on his face or like.
Oh, Only God Forgives.
Yes, it like reminded me of that too because of the violence and whatnot. And then it was like spooky, obviously. Weird.
It's like a visual heavy metal album or something.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good point.
I love that because there's not a lot of movies that accomplish that flavor. Mm-hmm. That's something I should aspire to. I should make another one.
When did you make that? Are you like? Do you have time to do that? While you're in school, to like just do like stuff for fun.
I'm figuring out the time thing. I'm actually just starting a new project. I got a show on the student radio station.
Oh hell yeah!
So it's gonna be a music show. So like the podcast will still exist to do this kind of fun hanging out and talking stuff, but it's gonna be a music show. So I'm going to try and curate like these hour-long shows. I'm gonna do a little talking and monologuing and stuff, but like about an hour-long show every week of some tunes I'm gonna pick out, and it's all gonna be like goth themed.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna do like.
What's your hour? Like what time of day are you?
It's gonna be on Thursdays from 8 to 9.
Okay, that's a good time. PM.
Yeah, PM.
It's like AM. Whoa.
They only do the show content until like 10. So I wanted it to be late because I'm gonna do some spooky, dark music and stuff. So I wanted it to be late and the sun to be down.
That's sick. I would have been part of KGHK in school. I thought that was such a cool organization.
I felt the same way. That's kind of why I applied. And so I was like, dude, I have another chance to like spread my stuff. And also it's like at any time I can just sneak in an N. Ron Hubbard song or a Bug Society or something.
Yeah, who cares?
But the archived versions of the shows are going to be on the Triplefour YouTube. Okay,
dope. I was just about to ask that. How can non-locals listen?
Yeah. Well, you can listen. It's streaming on. It's a web radio station, so you could stream it from their website on Thursday night.
Yeah, that'll be good. So it's not live. It doesn't have to be. It can be pre-recorded.
It's going to have to be pre-recorded. I wonder, because like their studio just COVID regulations as far as the studio goes. I think it would be fun to do a live version. Although I'm such an editor. Like I'm such an editor that is like, it almost benefits me to just edit everything myself. Since we're already talking about stuff of mine, might as well get into just a few quick plugs. And then we'll kind of wrap it up. Darkness on the Edge of Town. It's still streaming. It's on YouTube. It's on Amazon Prime. You've got access to those things, folks. Get on it. So yeah. The Triplefour store.
Movie night where I play. I curate my movie night, my like premiere night, and it's just like all of your stuff.
I had a friend, like, it's kind of crazy because I have so much stuff, so many like so much content that like it will. When I meet somebody and I want to like give them a feel for like what my thing is or my style is, then I'm like, well, you're going to have to start at the top. You've got No Gods, No Managers. You've got Big Basil Story. And just like, I just want them to like, I want to subject everybody to everything.
Like these are the phases of my life right now.
Yeah. It tells the story, you know, it tells my story.
Actually, when you say that, it makes me feel better because I feel the same way about my painting. I'm just like, my paintings are like scattered. I feel like there's an order to it in my mind, but someone looks at my stuff, they're just like, Still Life of Lemons, and then this crazy ass colored painting that makes no sense. And I'm just like, yep. All of it.
Where can the viewers, the listeners, see your paintings right now?
Right now, it is www.madisontubbsart.com. Pretty easy to access my website. Pretty updated. I don't have a lot of. I don't put my more so like still life's realism paintings on there. I mostly just put stuff from my body of work that I'm working on now on there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where that's at.
What about the Insta?
Old videos. You can always look at old videos on my website of me dressed up as a clown.
Oh yeah. Video days.
It's okay though. I'm gonna when I go back to my hometown this weekend. I'm gonna get my camera and my tripod, and I'm going to start, photographing and videotaping more.
Sweet.
For my paintings, but yeah, art.
Take some vids, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We love vids around these parts, and if you love vids, if you love films, you got to go to the Triplefour merchandise store. teespring.com/store/Triplefour-store. I'm wearing the Enron Hubbard Skeleton Man hoodie. You can get one of your own right now. Everything is priced to be affordable because this is a non-for-profit type bit, okay? We're just trying to support and make stuff. Triplefour store, posters, t-shirts, whatever you want, it's on there. And last plug, speaking of Enron Hubbard, Zillions of Fighters, the new Enron Hubbard album is out now. Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, all that stuff. So check that out, give it a listen, and get woke, honestly, because right now, y'all are fucking up.
If anyone wants to pay for my Spotify subscription, I didn't renew it this month. So looking to hop on someone's family plan.
Dude,
Actually, my mom, she says that she just needs to figure out how to log into her email to get me hooked up. So we'll see if that pans out. But.
Well, that sounds like you've got one adventure ahead of you to get to the email thing. And then another one.
I can't even explain to you. This morning as I was getting ready, I had Spotify playing, but of course it has the ads. I don't know how long it's been since you've been back on that ad life of Spotify, but it's the worst. So
I think Spotify is the one service I have paid for consistently without ever pausing it or anything for like 4 years or something.
Yeah, I feel that. It's so cheap, but I was like, my mom's already paying for it. She was like, cancel your subscription. That's like wasted money. You can just be on my plan. And now she's like, can't get into her account. I'm like, God damn it.
Or like, so I have the Spotify student thing now. It's the same $10, but I also get Hulu and Showtime.
Okay, that's dope. Do you have Mubi?
No.
Oh, Tubi?
Tubi, yes.
Tubi
Tubi fucking rules.
Okay, that's mostly free, right?
Yeah, it is straight up free as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. Good. I don't have Mubi, but I was thinking that would be a cool thing to have.
I just got the Criterion hookup.
Dude, same. My brother set up my TV in my house last week, and he put in his Hulu, Criterion, Netflix, and HBO, and I was like, bro.
Hell yeah. HBO is the only one I don't have, and there's a bunch of stuff on there that I want to watch. So,
well, let me see if I can get you my password.
All right.
Again, it's my mom's.
Hear that, corporate media? We're leeching off each other's accounts. Any other like stuff you've watched or anything you've listened to that has excited you lately?
Yeah, give me a moment. Oh, we talked about it already. I was like, Paris, Texas.
Oh yeah, Paris, Texas.
Blew up. Yeah, I watched that recently. That got me pretty heated. I liked it. That got me heated. Felt like strong, in my opinion. Wait, I already saw it, but I watched it with someone else. Queen and Slim. You've seen that or no?
No, I haven't. You mentioned that before. You know somebody who's in it, right?
Yeah, okay, I did mention it. You're right. Well, the only reason I'm going to mention it is because I was with my friend, this guy I'm seeing. I was like, okay, we should watch this. I like it. It's a pretty good movie. You know, written by a Black woman, directed by a Black woman, like a lot of like well-known Black actors. Like, I'm kind of just like, give it its moment, even if you don't like it. This person I'm watching it with, like, stops it halfway through, and he's like, I kind of feel like I know where this is going, and you know, you've seen it, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel like I want to watch the rest of it. And I was like, and he stops it in the middle of the movie and switches to Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I was like, I hate it when people do that in general. I'm like, if you pick a movie, you just gotta fight through it. And second of all, I recommended it, so it's like kind of insulting to be like, also there's a plot twist at the end. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen.
This sounds like it could be a scene in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Honestly, you're not wrong on that. Yeah,
but it's good.
Yeah, I liked it. And do I need to watch it again? No. I only wanted to watch it because to show it to someone. It wasn't like I needed to see it again, you know, but I was like, whatever, dude. Whatever. Oh, and then I got quizzed because I was like, it was the new season of Curb. And I was like, I don't think I've seen this. I've only seen season 9. And he was like, okay, let's watch it. So we watched the first episode, and I was like, oh, I've seen this. I was like, I've seen this, I think twice. Like, I definitely have seen this more than once. And he was like, he paused it again. It's all about the pausing, you know, the clicking of the laptop. And he's just like, how much TV do you watch? And I was like, I don't know. No, but like, how many hours a week do you watch TV? And I was like, I don't know, maybe like an hour a night. Like, some nights I don't watch TV, but some nights I watch like 3 hours. Sometimes movies are longer. Like, he's like, what? So like maybe 7, 8 hours a week. And I was like, yeah, actually that probably sounds right. And he was like, wow, you watch a lot of TV.
This is not a good review of this.
I know. I was like, first of all, COVID, I lost my job. And I work now, and then second of all, like, I felt so insecure. I asked 2 of my other friends who live near me, who are really into movies and cinema, and I was like, how many hours a week do you watch? They're like, upwards of 25. Upwards of, you know, and I'm just like, okay, now I don't feel so bad, but also fuck this dude. Sorry, off the record, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but I'm like, felt so insecure that I watched a lot of TV, you know?
Yeah. I I feel there's a lot of TV I want to watch, but I prioritize films just because. I mean, for obvious reasons, but
I put it in the category when I'm speaking about like hours of television. Maybe I should separate it, but just like screen time. Like I'm just like, okay, like 7 or 8 hours, like that count. Like movies are easily 2 hours. If you watch 2 in a week, you have like 4 hours or 4 to 5 hours already taken up. And then like I watch or I listen to television or a podcast when I cook because I live alone,
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, I'm even getting defensive as I talk about it right now. This person's not even in the same room.
I don't think it's a problem at all. I feel like I am pretty much at all times consuming something or another. Like I've just programmed myself to be that way. It's like I have like extensive playlists at this point. Like I used to save all of my like albums I want to listen to on Spotify where you heart them or like them or whatever they call it. And then you have that big thing of like all your saved music. And I kept like just filling it up. And I'm like, I keep like stuff just keeps getting lost. So I've started to like make playlists and then just start from the top and go to the bottom on the playlist and just pick a different playlist. And so like another problem I have is being a completist. So like, I was like, man, I have to get it all. And so it's like, I made a playlist of every Bob Dylan album, a studio album. And like, there were a few that I've heard enough times where I'm like, I don't need to listen to this one. So I just omitted those, but still it's like 20 something albums. And so like, I'm just slowly chipping away at that. And then like, I got excited. So then I made like a Rolling Stones one, a Flaming Lips one, like just all these artists that I wanted to go through every album. Like I'm familiar with their stuff, but I want to hear
Jesus, dude.
So I got like this addiction. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Hopefully
it's been a blast. I'll do it again.
Hopefully I don't embarrass myself in 5 years from now. I'm going to be like canceled.
I think about that all the time. I've put out so much stuff that something somewhere along the line was going to be a testament of my opinions and thoughts at the time, or some kind of stupid joke that I thought no one would hear, and then it's going to get blown up into something that it is.
Yeah.
So mark my fucking words if you're a person combing through my stuff right now to cancel me. Mark my fucking words. I didn't mean it.
Didn't mean it. I take it back, and I'm full accountability, but it wasn't on my.
But also not. Also no accountability. I changed.
Talking about your future self. I've changed.
I've changed
right now. Yeah, no, I'd rather just stay offline in that sense, just because it's so, you never know.
Thanks for watching the Triplefour podcast. Bye.
Bye.